Hey, hoser.
KBBBL Podcast. Where the extra B is for BYOBB.
Where's my elephant?
We see your face on keychains.
And water action pens.
And snow domes. This is all very exciting.
Welcome to KBBBL Podcast.
Also
the
very
extra
exciting.
B is for BYOBB. And of course, yes, it's all very exciting. We see ourselves on keychains, and I figured we could really sell some snow globes, fellas.
Or some license plates.
I am your host, champion of child literacy. And with me, a couple lovable jesters. Premium triple chocolate. And the clown prince of corruption.
I got the Joker hair today to match the theme for the name and for the episode, really. The clown, bit of a clown episode.
Yeah, a couple of blue-haired freaks.
The kids at the museum love it. What can I say?
I bet they do.
I bet they do.
Yeah, I thought I'd have fun with it.
You get a couple grandparents that are like, look at that blue-haired freak. What does this museum come to?
Kids walking around with bones in their noses, tattoos on their hands.
Would you want to talk to the guy in the bumblebee suit or the guy with the bone through his hair?
I would probably talk to the guy with the bone through his hair because that's interesting. Though the guy in the bumblebee suit's kind of up my alley too. Really, I'm into bees and things like that.
But why are Sideshow Mel and Sideshow Bob such thespians? They're both like so classy and. What's up with that?
Now they work for this club.
Yeah.
And they play a slide whistle and get shot through a cannon.
I think that's what they're trying to say, though. Like that's an insider joke that maybe the cream doesn't always rise to the top.
Or even one of these things is like you find like however many, like so many famous actors, and then you realize they were all like into like super like legitimate theater and like acting stuff like beforehand before they became like action stars or drama stars or whatever they are, right?
I know you're a big Star Trek fan, Davan. That's like a massive, or Francis, you too. That's a great example. Patrick Stewart, so many, actors, famous actors. Christopher Lee, I think, was in theater. The guy who played, what's his name? The guy who played Magneto, and God, he's in a bunch of stuff.
Kellen?
Yeah. He's a big time theater. The theater.
Oh, what's our extra B for tonight?
Oh yeah, good question.
Public burning.
I'm telling you, people.
That's technically a P for public
burning.
The Earth revolves around the sun. I'm telling you, people.
I love when
We're here to review.
When someone yells something like unhinged and their eyeballs kind of go like not like the same direction.
The animation.
Right, take us away, Davan. Yes.
Well, we're here to review
Season
1, Episode 12. Krusty Gets Busted.
Yes.
We're getting to the end of Season 1. This is the penultimate episode of Season 1.
And what? It's such a high and then a low because the next episode we'll talk about, obviously. It's a bit of a step down, in my opinion, compared to this episode, which is...
This episode is pretty great.
Yeah.
Well, this one's weird too because I was thinking about the ranking, and you guys were talking about how much you love this episode, and I was like, I love this episode too. But when I try to define the 3 categories we're ranking it on, like I find it hard to rank any one in particular piece of it extremely strong. But the way the whole episode matches together, like rises it like up here, kind of, at least for me.
I kind of agree with you, actually. Like, it wasn't the funniest episode, but it was just so well animated. It was well written. It had a lot of things that will later come to be much more familiar with The Simpsons. Like we start to see the introduction. Like I noticed, for example, we've seen already Itchy and Scratchy, but the way that they were introduced to us in this episode, it's like basically cementing that like, okay, Itchy and Scratchy is the cartoon show that exists within the Krusty the Clown show. There's a lot of solidifying of roles in this episode, like Ken Brockman.
Yeah, this is like sort of the baseline of a lot of follow-up gags that ride with us through the seasons. A lot of foundation in this episode.
Have a sit, fellas.
With a cool
glass of turnip juice.
With a cool glass of turnip juice, of course. So, Baker, you have blue hair.
I do, yeah. No real reason for it. A friend of mine who I worked with at the museum, they happen to have some blue hair dye. So, you know, like I said,
is this your way? This your way of saying you're sick of seeing this black-haired Chief Wiggum? Like,
that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he
we
also
actually see
changes
the-
skin tones at one point, doesn't he?
No, Wiggum. Not Wiggum.
But this is a weird,
the very
like-
last part he does, but maybe I'm
Wiggum
missing
is still a yellow guy in this episode, though.
Francis, what were you going to say?
So. I was gonna say we see a weird, still like unevolved Chief Wiggum where he's like very serious and like perhaps even borderline competent at what he's doing in this.
A little bit. There's a bit of the donut cop gags as well.
The kid has to solve the crime for them, so I don't know how competent.
Yeah, but still, like, he's mad at Homer for laughing at the lineup and everything. He's like, take it seriously. Who is it? As opposed to, the bumbling Wiggum we're used to.
Yeah. We certainly won't let it happen again.
You get any new tattoos, Baker?
Well, it's been a week off actually, so a few. I'm trying to think.
You're fired.
Hey, Baker, did you ever think that maybe you get so many tattoos because you're not using enough gunpowder?
I'm empty inside. That's the real reason. It's hard to hold this correctly for the camera, but you can see I have some little star filler there that I added on my wrist, just to kind of blend the black and the color together. And then I have an eagle is by my buddy Ethan over at Oceanic, Ethan Kilgore, very talented. He's heading out of the province for a little while just for personal reasons. So I figured I'd hop in there, get a tattoo by him. Tomorrow I have another tattoo. So, there'll be more to talk about next week. The Odyssey continues. It's almost over though. It's getting close. I have only so much skin.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a week off. It's good to see you guys. It's good to be back. Yeah. Did you guys BYOBB?
Yeah, but nothing exciting. I just got Propeller IPA again because I'm lame, and the brewery's like 5 minutes from my place, so it's a good go-to.
I brought a Pepsi just because I happen to have one laying around here, and I was out the other week. We were off, so I was out the other week, and I maybe I'm just taking a little break from the alcohol for a week, boys. Recharging.
Me too. I actually got confused and thought it was BYOBT, so I brought black tea. Earl Grey tea, actually, because I got to do a Picard podcast after this one.
Nice.
For anyone wondering why Baker's almost never drinking, it's because he actually prefers crack and crystal meth. And when you do heavy like uppers like that, it makes you like not thirsty for alcohol. You just want to. Yeah,
it's true.
His heart's already racing. You can't think about anything else. That's why.
I will say this. Yeah.
Do you ever think that maybe you do so much crack and crystal meth because you're not using enough gunpowder?
Maybe. Yeah, probably. We need more gunpowder. And before we get into this episode, I would like to really briefly congratulate you and your partner again, Davan, for the little one. Congrats. That's awesome.
There we go. Yeah, that's super awesome.
The little one on the way. Little one on the way.
Yes.
Hashtag girl.
Way to get Tiff pregnant.
Shit. Yeah. Well, anything else new, fellas, or should we get into it?
Is it Homer does when he's impersonating the sperm he makes like that?
Other than that, I'm good. Whatever.
Oh, yeah,
that's good to hear you're settling in, though.
Yeah.
Good.
It's going. All right, this episode. I'm keen to talk about it.
I guess it's time for a breakdown. Don't mind if I do. Let's get into it. Well, you see, we start off with the young children watching some TV. They're enjoying their TV time, and they're watching Krusty the Clown. Um, so Krusty's pretty funny there. It's funny the hold he has on these children, actually. And he just
Yeah.
flaunts it too.
Well, Lisa says he's patronizing. Lisa straight up says later, he's like, "Oh, Sideshow Bob is less patronizing than this Krusty
Yeah,
guy."
And she
well,
likes
he's a
Sideshow Bob better, and she should though, really. 'Cause
I
she's
do.
an
Yeah,
intellectual.
dude.
He's an intellectual.
Yeah, Kelsey
She
Grammer's
should.
show is just a better show for those kids, I think, than Krusty's.
It really is. So from the snippet you see, you're like, it probably would be better for everyone if it was just such
Can't
a.
we? Yeah, can't we just like do a Armin Tanzarian on this one and just like pretend that Krusty actually robbed the Quickie Mart? You know? Ah. Oh well.
Hey, kids, who do you love? How much do you love me?
With all our hearts!
What would you do if I went off the air?
We kill ourselves!
Oh my God, you can't see that on TV anymore. This show actually was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. Like I used to think
Okay,
the other
kids.
parents were lame, but
Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid, kids. Everybody have some of the flavoring. Oh God, horrifying.
what a way to try to secure your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get to. I think it's a commentary. It's the '80s. Parents are gluing their kids to the front of the TV, and they're probably saying these kids are so addicted to this shit. I bet they'd fucking kill themselves if I took away their TV. And it's just like,
yeah.
just
I was a kid that
right?
grew up without a phone or a tablet, right? Like my technological addiction, I guess video gaming a bit, but also just like television. Which is funny to think about now because I can't stand commercials. Like it's funny to think about in retrospect. I would sit and watch cartoons and television shows like on syndication, like The Simpsons, and I'd watch the commercials and like I'd patiently wait for the shows to come on. Nowadays we can just choose to watch what we want. But it's very relatable to me, Bart and Lisa's being so engrossed in the television.
Yeah, I'm working with someone right now who's like 23, and like something will remind me of a commercial, and I'll try to like sing the jingle. It's not even that, oh hey, she's too young to remember the jingles, but like the idea of a jingle for a product is like there's just this like blank expression. I was like, what do you mean? Like I'm like the song they would sing on the commercial all the time. Like the concept of it is fucking just out there for her.
Did you sing the Juicy Fruit song?
No, I think I sang the Greco one, and there was one other one. What was fucking the other one?
You guys know the Juicy Fruit song.
The Mentos.
That was a classic.
Mentos is a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, there was like they came up in actual conversation. I wasn't like running through them. They were like actual things that came up. One was Greco and one was something else. I can't remember though.
Oh, fellas, you know what we did skip while we were sitting under the turnip tree there? Our introspection.
Yes.
This episode we have on Bart writing on the chalkboard yet again.
Yeah.
And he's saying, they're laughing at me, not with me. That's the best one, the gag so far.
It's pretty good. And then
and
what
the
was
couch gag, Maggie pops off. It's always just somebody popping off in different.
Yeah.
They're not doing much with it yet.
Yeah, they're not doing much with it. Season 2, everything's going to start coming together in the best way, and we're going to see some real fun couch gags start to happen onwards.
Like this episode's got season 2. If you told me this episode was in season 2, I would have believed you.
Yes, that's what I came away with as well. The animation was really good. Like the lore and like the background of the Simpsons
characters,
Springfield,
like Krusty and Bob are themselves. They're
everything feels very grounded and familiar relative to later, like classic Simpsons.
Mm-hmm. And the voice actors they're getting for this, like already, they're a brand new show, and they're just like Albert Brooks and Kelsey Grammer.
But they were massive at this point because when this show came out, Frasier was a really big show, or was it Friends? I guess, or Cheers.
No, Frasier's way like Cheers.
It was Cheers.
Yeah.
So he was a big star in his own right, Kelsey Grammer. So The Simpsons, it's a testament to how popular that show was getting. The Nielsen ratings for it were really good at this point, like exceptional.
Oh yeah,
unprecedented
a meta joke
for a cartoon show.
Yeah. So they're doing the Krusty show. There's a little girl, and she has her birthday. She gets to choose. She wants a prize or to shoot Sideshow Bob out of the cannon. And of course, she chooses the cannon because
I mean,
Who would?
who wouldn't choose the cannon? Let's be real. Song,
exactly.
cannon.
Choose the cannon.
But-
Choose the elephant. You know, you do what you gotta do.
Exactly. I'm surprised nobody chose the elephant before, but I mean, people are so money hungry, I guess.
Don't blame me. I
I didn't.
Okay.
Isn't that Bart's catchphrase? In the
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that too.
That's what I
was
wanted to talk about. It becomes
must have
Come
forgot
on,
about
Simpsons
that.
writers.
When they did
Yeah,
the
they
next
forgot.
episode.
They must have
Yeah.
forgotten about it.
Yeah, or they
Like
just
that.
didn't care.
Or they didn't care, but yeah, that's the first thing I was just like, wait a minute. He's the I didn't do it kid.
Like, nah, no one will notice except for nerds doing a podcast 25 years from now. No one will fucking notice that we
Oh,
copied
we noticed.
it.
James L. Brooks and
In
Sam
episode,
Stein. Great.
in episode 12 of season 1,
Yeah,
there is
exactly.
a xylophone that you strike 2 rib cages as a xylophone and play the same rib, but you make 2 distinct notes.
No. You expect us to believe?
You know,
that-
the way he laughs is so fucking.
A wizard did it.
I really made this. It's some.
I told you, I'm not Xena. I'm Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, 'cause I can't fly.
Yeah. See, we're going down the rabbit hole. That's how it shows how great the show is.
Me and Davan drink whiskey and do this for 45 minutes straight. just
Oh yeah.
just yelling quotes at each other.
Oh yeah. It's a good time. One of us will slap the other and say we look terrible. You know, there's a ritual involved.
All this senseless violence. I don't understand its appeal.
Well, we don't expect you to, Mom. If cartoons were meant for adults, they'd put them on in prime time.
That's such a meta joke.
Oh, that's very meta. It's very meta.
So
it's also
good.
a
Like
commentary
that-
on criticism of The Simpsons too.
Exactly. It's just like we're clearly not a kid show because all the criticism is like,
Yeah.
oh, the children are going to watch this because it's a cartoon. It's like,
Yeah,
but they're saying
Not
the
meant for
opposite. You
kids.
know,
yeah.
if it was for kids, we put it on Saturday morning. That's what they're saying. You know.
I think The Simpsons was always
yeah.
clearly meant for adults. It was never really like
No,
a
clearly.
kids
Yeah.
show.
Oh, always. 100%.
Yeah, it just
I mean,
happens to be a
from the Tracy
cartoon.
Ullman show,
so kids are
was a
drawn
late
to
night
it.
show.
Yeah.
Like it came from late night. So yeah, never a kid show. But that was the first real Itchy and Scratchy. Itchy shoots a flaming arrow into Scratchy's bum
Yeah.
while he's
Classic.
lying on a hammock.
Classic
Yep.
gag.
That's a gag.
Classic gag. Yep. Yeah. Remember the first time I did that one to Francis.
And I've been in love ever since.
It's true.
Oh, so that's how you two met.
Well,
Yeah, I just randomly shoot off flaming arrows, hoping to meet people. It works. I can tell you it works.
Aggressively social. Just
Yeah, exactly.
that's like bowling. Get your bowling gear. We got bowling. Just firing his gun into the air. Of course.
Oh
Another classic episode, of course. But yeah, Itchy and Scratchy. This is one of our very first Itchy and Scratchies. What can you say? They're great. They're a spoof of like kind of like the older style Warner Brothers cartoons.
So, Marriage Calls Homer wants him to pick up some ice cream because they're having Patty and Selma over to watch a slideshow about their vacation to the Yucatan. Very exciting stuff. Homer's looking forward to it, that's for sure.
Chocolate. Ooh, double chocolate. New flavor, triple chocolate.
Triple chocolate premium.
Yeah, not any triple
Premium.
chocolate. Yeah, the premium.
New flavor, triple chocolate. I like that gag. I laughed out loud, actually. I laughed out loud about 3 or 4 times in this episode.
Dude,
which is pretty good.
the ice cream he gets for his journey to the register is hilarious.
Yeah, because he's like getting a little snack for a trip to the register.
Little something for the trip to the cash register. Yeah.
Can't contain himself. He's just that hungry.
Slideshow starring my wife's sisters, or as I call them, the gruesome twosome.
Gruesome twosome.
Yeah.
Ow, my foot, you lousy, stupid
Sorry,
clumsy.
pal.
Was that Kelsey Grammer
Gruesome twosome.
doing his like voice in
No.
a funny?
Oh, maybe. It sounded like
Yeah, I
Dan
don't know.
Castellaneta.
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't sound like him.
So we have an armed robbery going down. Oh, I
Yeah.
had a couple images I skipped there. Well, here we go. Here's the robbery.
Yeah. For our listeners.
Looks like Krusty. You
does.
gotta give Homer that. Looks like Krusty.
You gotta give Sideshow Bob that. That's an excellent disguise, aside from the fact that his feet are
like
Sasquatch
the fat food and everything.
Gigantic,
Like somehow he managed it. Good job, Sideshow Bob. Unless he just hired a guy. No, of course he didn't.
Yeah, because it's his feet.
Sideshow Bob. Yes, exactly.
Hand over all your money in a paper bag.
Yes, I know the procedure for armed robbery. I do work in a convenience store, you know.
I like that Apu's like proper sassy already about being robbed.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows the drill.
Yeah.
And with his customers too.
You can emerge now from my cheeps. The opportunity to prove yourself a hero is long gone.
My cheeps.
With Jeeps.
Yeah.
So then, they bust in on Krusty in his home. He's just making a drink, spraying some perfume on the top of it. That was a little weird.
The perfect crime, boys. The perfect crime.
He's
just dressing up in his clown outfit to do the robbery, putting on a little mask.
No,
the Zorro mask.
Yeah.
He's gonna put a thong.
Like
that. No one will be able to tell.
It's such an obvious frame job. Come on.
But how can you tell? Clowns all look the same.
This is hilarious.
They take Homer to the lineup. Yeah,
this is another one.
Like Homer, have you seen or Mr. Simpson? Is any of these men the criminal? He's just like he can't stop laughing because
but it's funny too because it's not like he's having that big arm. Like he's just like delighted to see these clowns in front of him. He's just like delightful. He's like giggling. Yeah. He's just he's like I just got robbed at gunpoint, but it was like
this is like a kid.
These clowns.
Yeah,
they're all so depressed though. Look at them. The saddest bunch of clowns.
Well, they're locked up.
Look how red-eyed that guy in the center is. Like, my God.
He's fucking big.
Yeah, he's high on something. He's the one smoking crack.
It's the guy from TV. My kid's hero, Krusty the Clown.
Oh no, I jumped ahead. Now they go busting on Krusty. First they take Homer.
Yeah, Homer fingers the guy because he puts two and two together.
So then they bust in on Krusty.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, blah, 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 blah.
A joke?
Yeah, Francis, he's so professional this episode.
No, okay, but I was wondering what this is. He supposed to actually
he's almost confident, remember? Almost confident.
Is that he supposed to be saying blah, or is that just them like, okay, well, yes, this is the rest of Miranda rights, and we're just going to blah, blah, blah it.
I think that's Wiggum just being a terrible police officer. But maybe you're right. I hadn't considered that actually. That's an interesting theory. Almost like the Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
No, I just think Wiggum doesn't care. He's the chief.
I think
he
Wiggum
doesn't want to do it. He's not gonna.
Yeah, I think Wiggum just sleepwalks through his job and just is bad at it. Clancy, use a remote.
Maybe looked at you.
I plead guilty. Oh, I'm not guilty. Opening night jitters, Your Honor.
This also got a huge laugh. Just him not understanding the difference between guilty and not guilty.
I don't like Krusty without the makeup. I never want to see it again.
The mugshot. He looks better as Rory B. Bellows. I would say
he does. Yeah,
I agree. He does look better as Rory B. Bellows. Good nod. Yeah. Good nod there. So this is the first Kent Brockman.
Yeah.
He comes on there.
He doesn't even come on though because that I found it funny too. Actually, they introduced Kent Brockman, but it's like a stand-in guy.
Standing Scott Christian.
No, we do get to see Brockman then later in the episode, so he eventually appears.
Yeah,
but the first time they call him out, they have that strange he's off tonight.
Scott Christian.
Here's another guy. Why was that a thing? I don't understand.
I think that's just poking fun at TV at the time. It's just a regular thing you'd see on the night news. Oh, so and so standing in for whoever. I think it's just them playing with it, having some fun.
Yeah. I guess I'm probably overthinking it. But then, Brockman does physically appear later in the episode, and of course, he's an amazing character. Kent Brockman.
He's great.
And so is Lovejoy. There's a lot of great characters in this episode. They're really building out the town.
The lore is getting.
Yeah, so now they're on the news. Kent Brockman's on there now, and he's talking about how Krusty has a pacemaker, and so that's a clue later on.
Yeah, key plot point later. Chekhov's gun.
And then we get to Reverend Lovejoy. He's calling for a public burning of all Krusty merchandise. Yeah.
Tell me about the soundbite.
Public burning. I don't think I do. I have something. We'll figure out what I got here.
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Oh, I already did that one. Hold on. What's this one?
Who'd have guessed they were inspired by an insane criminal genius?
Also the hyperbole too. Like,
no, I don't have Lovejoy's
store.
First
and you keep calling him all this insane like criminal genius and criminal mastermind. It's
such a criminal genius robbing a
clown prince of crime.
Yeah, looking exactly like himself on CCTV.
In a way traceable immediately back to him. Such a criminal
it's like
mastermind.
They in the same night.
Oh God, gotta love it.
So Homer and Marge are gathering up all Bart's stuff, Krusty stuff, and getting rid of it for the public burning. Yeah. Bart's very upset about all this, of course. And they head down to the burning.
But Dad, you're giving in to mob mentality.
No, I'm not. I'm hopping on the bandwagon. Now, come on, son, get with the winning team.
So funny. Like, this is great. They're establishing Homer more and more as an oaf. This isn't the same Homer that in the first episode would want the family to go to counseling or whatever to fix their problem.
It's one of those super smart Simpsons lines, though. Yeah, it's mob mentality. No, I'm not. I'm jumping on the bandwagon.
Totally.
With the winning team, he just inserts two exact metaphors for what Bart said.
Now, we are going to set this pile of evil ablaze, but because these are children's toys, the fire will spread quickly, so please stand back and try not to inhale the toxic fumes.
I heard that children's toys are made out of horrible BPA plastics and all this shit.
Another
I used to chew on all those horrible toys. I'm like, who knows?
Again, just poking fun at the realities and the absurdity of real life, being our children's toys are all so toxic they'll go up in flames instantly, but we still use them.
And the DA, we just got a sneak peek of the district attorney there. We're gonna talk about him in a second. He's a scary looking man.
Yeah, there he is.
Another character introduced in the back there is Judge Schneider, who
Schneider's
of course,
he's in lots of episodes.
Lionel Hutz runs over his dog, and by dog he means son, and by ran over he means repeatedly.
Yeah,
you remember?
By accident.
Ah, man, Judge Schneider. Yeah,
Lionel Hutz is so good.
Lionel Hutz is amazing.
We can't go down that.
Oh yeah.
I know.
He's so good.
But still, Judge Schneider has some
crime
good
to be
moments,
illiterate.
He does have moments, yeah.
Is it a crime to be illiterate, fellas?
Is it a crime to be illiterate?
No, but it does actually add a tragic element to Krusty, because I don't think you actually need to do much guesswork to figure out why he would be sponsoring children's literacy if he himself was illiterate. It's not making him a hypocrite. It's just that he, probably wishes he had the opportunity to learn when he was a kid. He's clearly not somebody who has the patience to learn now. He spends all his time sports gambling.
Is it a crime to bet on sporting events?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I love that part.
Yeah, I laughed again there too. This is a good one. So they're in trial. It's not going well for Krusty.
Guilty.
I knew it! This happens to me every time.
I laughed out loud there too.
Oh
my god,
dude, he's actually
he loses every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother telling his clients that ahead of time. God, I knew it. But he has no confidence going in either. He's just like, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's like the guild of lawyers.
Yeah. So Bart gets Lisa to help him figure out the truth, because Bart has a hunch. So
that brainwashing
they
really
go to
well
the Quickie Mart and they look at the security footage. And so Lisa's starting to figure it out and believe Bart. And she also recalls that the robber was reading the Springfield Review of Books. And of course, now we know Krusty can't read. And then there's the big feet thing. They're putting it all together, these kids. So then we go to Act 3 when we're in the television studio. And here we go. There's a new show. Krusty's gone. It's time to move on. The kids moved on fast, it seems.
Some kids are here to see you, Sideshow Bob. They say it's important.
Another great line. They just let anybody in.
He says all the right things to them, though. Like, he does a good job rationalizing all of their clues. Krusty probably would look at a magazine and just look at the pictures. He probably, he can't read, so it actually makes sense, too, that he wouldn't, care about the pacemaker for that reason. But also, he probably wouldn't care anyway.
But the thing about the reading, too, is, he's reading the review of books. So, if you're going to look at a random thing, why would you be looking at literature that references other literature?
That is true.
Yeah, why would you even pick that up? I mean, not like you could read
Bob
the
is
title.
reading.
Not like you can tell what
he
it
reading
is.
to them?
Yeah.
He's reading to them a book as well, isn't he? What was the book he's reading?
Oh, I forget what it is.
Well, perhaps we can shed some light on your problem in a new segment exploring pre-adolescent turmoil. I call it Choices.
Oh, yeah, the Choices.
Here we are at Choices.
Those nice white couches, the red lettering and cursive. It's very, very tasteful.
So sophisticated.
I think it's funny that even though he's made this nice, new, sophisticated show, he's still wearing the Sideshow Bob getup. He hasn't.
I know, right?
He hasn't classied up his appearance.
And
it's still a Sideshow Bob show. It's still a Sideshow Bob show.
Yeah. Shouldn't it be the Bob show or whatever?
I guess, but he's not a clown. He needs some sort of gimmick, I guess.
I guess.
I bet the other children don't accept you.
True, Sideshow Bob, but that doesn't bother me.
I'm fine with that.
Is that true of everybody? Whatever. So then Bart, tells him his evidence, and he's like, "Look, I think somebody framed him."
The fact is, you don't have to be able to read to enjoy the Springfield Review of Books. Just look at these amusing caricatures of Gore Vidal and Susan Sontag.
Gore Vidal, a poet, Susan Sontag, an essayist.
Bart probably has no idea who either of those people are, but he seems to genuinely find the caricatures fun, right? He actually is like, "Oh, those are kind of funny."
Those are pretty funny. But Bart is weird because Bart gets a lot of old references. He's not smart like Lisa, but he knows a ton about
Oh yeah, and occasionally throw it in there. It's just absurd that. And it's absurd that sometimes he should know some of these people where he's just like, I am aware of the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. It's why, Bart? Every now and then they'll just have him understand this gem of history or something.
I am aware of the words of Pablo Neruda.
Yeah. I think
let's try to remember Krusty not as a hardened criminal, but as that lovable jester who honked his horn and putted around in his little car.
And shot you out of a cannon.
And shot me out of a cannon. Yes, we will never forget that, will we?
Right there.
Sideshow Bob always goes there. That's how he always gets caught. Near the end, he starts to break down under his own rage.
He's
Bart,
insane. He's a madman.
pokes. Oh, he is. And Bart, but he keeps it so cool. He's never a madman until Bart just jabs at him a couple times. And then
it's always and they always point out something where he was demeaned or walked over and he just can't handle it. Shot out of a cannon, or there's always something that just triggers him.
Oh yeah, it's pretty funny though.
See that? Krusty wore big floppy shoes, but he's got little feet like all good-hearted people.
All good-hearted people.
So discriminatory, Bart, but that's hilarious.
This is actually a pretty hilarious episode, fellas.
Yeah,
I think the humor's pretty on point.
Yeah, we're starting to get to that point
Good-hearted
where
people.
classic Simpsons, where it's like every single line you're laughing.
Oh yeah,
It's just constant humor.
it is getting there. So then we get our Scooby-Doo ending.
Yeah, which is funny too, I think.
Oh yeah, it is. There we go.
His hackneyed shenanigans robbed me of my dignity for years. I played the buffoon while he squandered a fortune on his vulgar appetites. That's why I framed Krusty. I would have gotten away with it too if it went for these meddling kids.
I just love the tone of his voice. He's so disgusted by Krusty. His vulgar appetites.
The way he talks is so good. I love Kelsey Grammer. He's such a great addition to as a recurring guest on the show. I'm glad they decided to bring Bob back as Bart's like nemesis because he's.
I was just gonna say because we don't see Bob again for like it's still like season 3 or something, isn't it? Like he doesn't come back for the Springfield Lake episode. Like it's a couple seasons, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Cape Fear parody episode, I think.
Yeah,
That's
a great one. That's one of the best ones.
Yeah,
that's
the bloody letters. It's genuinely ominous. The bloody letters he sends.
Oh yeah,
is freaky.
Treat kids as equals. They're people too. They're smarter than
Dude,
you think.
yes, great screen cap. Dude, great screen cap. The animation in this episode is so good. So good.
Oh, yeah, look at him. He looks insane.
Yeah. It really captures
people too. The thing is crazy, like last words before getting dragged off, though. Like children are people too, like all this stuff. He's just like treat them as equals.
Tell them that they'll live to regret this. You'll live to regret. Oh, great! Now I sound crazy.
You'll live to regret. But he put so much acting into it. You'll live to regret this.
That, of course, is another great Sideshow Bob episode. Mr. Terwilliger.
Oh yeah, all the Bob episodes are great. We'll get there. We have seasons to go of this greatness, fellas.
Well, we made a terrible, terrible mistake. Won't happen again.
Well, that's good. Double jump.
Don't sue us, please. It won't happen again. But doesn't it happen?
I take back my Wiggum comment. He's fucking still a boo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All good.
Yeah, well, that's the end of the.
You kind of can't blame Wiggum for arresting him. Like the cameras, like
the evidence did. The evidence did point towards Krusty. It was a decent frame job. The only thing that's dumb about it is that why would Krusty get so sloppy? But you could argue that it's because he was very desperate for money because of his gambling debts. So
in the trunk.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that the horrible stories I heard about what goes on in prison are exaggerated.
Wow. They
Yep.
Anyone
He
ever
just
seen
moves on.
Oz?
He's just like, the important thing is the children trust me again.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually answer the question. That's pretty funny. But pretty sweet episode, I think. But let's move on to this is okay. So for this one, fellas, the Sideshow spotlight. Krusty doesn't count, and neither does Bob because they're the stars of this episode.
Okay.
So you gotta
I know
go
who I'm
off book with that one.
Should I go first?
In those soulful and doleful schmaltz by the bowlful.
Sorry, Sideshow Mel's beautiful voice. Yeah, go ahead, Baker.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with Krusty's lawyer. He's hilarious. I really liked him.
Yeah,
pretty funny.
Great little minor character. There's so many recurring characters that we're gonna get to talk about again and again that I like to give shout outs to the guys that that are in the background there. And I have another one that I want to shout out, but I want to see if either of you guys mention him first. So,
all right. What about you, Francis?
Lovejoy for me. He is going to come back, so there's definitely opportunities to shout him out again. But and like we kind of I shouldn't say we skipped it, but we forgot to touch on this a bit. Is also just like the whole religious bandwagon hopping on, societal bandwagon hopping on. But also Lovejoy because I like that as you go on, he has this duality where he also has this. He has this one side. This is super, just like apathetic.
He loves trains.
Jaded. doesn't give a fuck about it, but when he gets impassioned about something, he becomes this like ultra righteous preacher, like rallying the troops for this like, soulless cause or baseless cause.
Yeah.
And we get prime Lovejoy riled up in this episode.
I'm not very Christian, I'm not Christian, but I will say I think that Lovejoy is a better example of somebody like living as a Christian than say Flanders, who seems to like be overzealous. You know what I mean? Like
Flanders
Lovejoy
brings
clearly
out
is
the
a
apathy.
believer.
Probably more
in
realistic,
Lovejoy.
yeah.
Oh, the episode where he's like getting calls from Ned all the time. He's like, oh, it's Flanders again. He probably stepped on a bug. Oh, it's so good.
Nettie.
But they are,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, they are Protestant or something because they're not Catholic. Because he gets asked to read the last rites one time, and he's like, "You might as well ask me to do a voodoo dance." So I don't know if it's Protestant.
he's
or
a
not
Protestant.
Catholic.
Catholics are less common in the States, aren't they? A lot of like parts of the States were founded by Protestants.
Well, the Irish Catholics is in there's like
I suppose
the Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess
What's
I
your
would
favorite?
pick those ones. I'd probably have to give it to Wiggum. Wiggum was pretty
Wiggum's
funny in
great.
this one.
Good choice.
Yeah, he's hilarious. What can you say? He's just a very funny character. We're gonna get more and more great Wiggum moments.
I love Wiggum so much, man. He's like easily one of my favorite characters.
Go with traffic, or was that against traffic? No, with traffic. I'll shout out very briefly because we talked about him, and I'm just looking at his page here. Scott Christian, the news reporter. Apparently, he's in many episodes.
He is. Oh yeah,
he's
he
around
shows
for a
up
while.
a lot.
So he's like, I guess Kent Brockman's like less popular backup reporter. There's also Arnie Pie in the Sky, who we're gonna meet. He's great.
Yeah.
Arnie Pie in the Sky. But,
we should sign a little Sideshow spotlight on, like, I did come up with the rules that we can't talk about Krusty and Sideshow Bob in this one, which is fine for Krusty, but Sideshow Bob is the star in all of his episodes. So I think we should just shine a little spotlight on him too, because he'll never get a Sideshow spotlight because he's always going to be the star of his episode.
Yeah, we could do the odd, like, we could have an odd segment, maybe like once a season or something, where you pick somebody like that and be like, it's a side character technically, but they have evolved enough of their own, and we could give them a little 15-minute segment or something. We can talk about that.
We'll have to do a little each season, a little roundup at the end of each season for sure. I'll figure that out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's not a bad idea for like a recap of the season. We can have do our favorite intro as well. Would be another one, or like favorite couch gag, favorite chalk gag.
Yeah, we'll do a little award ceremony, best of the season.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's move on then to.
This is a pretzel town, pretty boy. What if your family don't like bread? It's funny because it's true. Well absorbed. Get your hand off my car.
Thank you for adding in that "get your hand off my car," Davin. I love that so much.
It was great.
He'll keep evolving as we get funnier through the seasons, and other quotes that we like. He'll keep evolving. I feel like.
But how can
the pretzel one is great.
But how can we forget about it when the work has already begun?
Somebody say astronomical. He comes out of the bushes.
Oh God! All right, so I got your meme here, Francis. There it is.
Another great.
I already explained Lovejoy in this episode. I don't need to explain it more, but he was just so.
Join us all in a public burning.
He's very fervent.
A public burning, and his eyes are going sideways and everything. I love it.
Yeah,
that's what they do. Like those preachers, they try to find stuff that's in the news that they can captivate people with. Get donations and things. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. That is a good one. Good choice. Good choice.
I'm just wondering, what's the point? Would it make any difference at all if I never existed? How can we sleep at night when there's so much suffering in the world?
It's a good question.
Yeah, Baker.
See, that's one, like, I feel like if we come up with a good, or we encounter something fun, we can include that in my segment. The point for this episode, or, well, the topic I guess I'd like to briefly talk about is childhood entertainment. We grew up watching The Simpsons, all of us. Bart and Lisa grew up watching Krusty the Clown. There's a gag where Krusty's like, and Itchy and Scratchy. There's a gag where Krusty's like, kill yourselves, kids, if I go off the air. And they're like, we'll do it.
Is that a gag?
I think it's a commentary, but it's also like an exaggeration of that type of.
No, I mean the writers. But it was for Krusty. Is it a gag? I don't think Krusty's thinking that's a gag. That's just what he says to
the character Krusty is supposed to be
rally
sincere,
the troops.
but the gag from the writers is supposed to be like a commentary.
So I think I'm comfortable enough saying that Krusty the Clown is not like a very substantive show. It's just like mindless entertainment for kids. I don't think it's necessarily harmful. Lisa, of course, one of my favorite characters, is super adjusted, and she loves Itchy and Scratchy. She's very intelligent, precocious, but she also happens to enjoy cartoon violence, right? It's just something
she's still a kid, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
The Simpsons, I think, is a really actually kind of beneficial show for a lot of kids to watch. Maybe with some supervision.
You learn a ton.
Yes, very educational.
If you just dig into the references, you'd learn a ton.
I do think there's maybe certain episodes that either like some contextualizing would be helpful beforehand. I was talking with someone earlier about Apu. Apu's a funny character, but my heart does go out to people that if you're Indian, and you were bullied and called Apu, that sucks. And that's because of the influence Simpsons can have. So,
That's the thing. It's just so happens that Apu was the most famous Indian character on TV.
Yeah.
So if the kind of theory behind all the controversy is, I mean, I get it as well, but were it not Apu, it would just be the next most famous Indian character, which I can't even think who that would have been back then.
Well, my question
which goes to show you how there was no representation back then.
Well, and my question too, and this is not to disparage anybody who may have been offended or had certain feelings about it, and obviously if you're Indian in school, you're gonna get called out and it sucks. But I'm like, I want to know if there was really any people of Indian descent that were actually complaining about this, or was it just kind of like a white warrior thing where they went at it? Because as a black dude, that shit happens all the time. I see stuff on the internet that white people hop in oh, we're gonna stop doing this, and anyone I know who's black or anyone in my family is like, we don't care about that. You don't need to hop in and crusade for us at that exact spot. There's real issues we would rather have your issue for, right?
I don't know. I don't know how much of that is just white crusaders finding problems.
Well, it's the internet, so there's definitely some of that.
All I'll say is
some percentage of that.
Yeah, we will get to talk more about the whole Apu thing. The Apu in the room, so to speak. But I just wanted to say The Simpsons. It has a very powerful hold. I remember being a kid, and it was my Krusty the Clown show. I'd want to watch it all the time. Yeah. There were a lot of shows that I loved, but there were very few other. I can't think of another show that I would drop everything and I'd watch. It didn't matter if I'd seen the episode or not. I just want to watch it because it was so funny and entertaining. And like you said,
watch the same episode 100 times, right?
So I think it's good for young people to be exposed to. So that's my point, I guess, for the episode.
Especially
well said.
Yeah, when you had mentioned if you could contextualize some of the things, we're now living in an age where when we were kids, we have Google at your fingertips. So if some kids are going to watch this and hear a name or a scenario they don't understand, they can pop it in Google, and all of a sudden there's a history lesson for you, quick.
Like Gore Vidal, right?
Read up, right?
Yeah. Who the fuck's Gore Vidal?
I don't understand.
He got referenced a lot, though. When you heard him on The Simpsons, you were like, "Oh, I've heard that name."
There's some deep cuts, man. The episode where there's the critic crossover, he mentions Eudora Welty as the belching champion. She's a Canadian short story writer, or I can't remember actually if she's Canadian, but she's not a superstar. There's a lot of really deep cuts in The Simpsons, deep references.
For sure.
The Greeks knew it. The Carthaginians knew it. Now you know it.
I will teach you.
You're a very good teacher.
Yes, I am a very good teacher, and I can teach you everything.
I love it.
Now, fellas, I'm gonna teach you everything about. I'll tell you what about. Baker will know a fair bit about this topic, I am sure. And you know what, Francis, you probably do too. Here we go.
There was a school of thought called Stoicism.
Wait a minute.
I did
Stoicism.
laugh when he mentioned Stoicism. It's like, of course,
Me
Sideshow
too.
Bob would start lecturing a bunch of children about the Roman philosophy of Stoicism.
Look, of all the philosophies, it's probably the one deepest to my heart.
I'm very closely. I love Stoicism.
Founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens in the early 3rd century BCE, it's a philosophy of personal virtue ethics, and also like adherence to the natural nature in the natural world, which is where it really resonates with me as well. And you get like Epictetus. I've read some Epictetus, and of course my boy Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king himself. Yeah, man,
What's
there's
some other
been some
ones?
great. Let me think now.
Boethius, he was a Stoic philosopher as well.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones. Seneca. That's the other. Seneca. That's the other.
Oh, yes. Or was Seneca a rival of the Stoics? Because there was the whole Stoics and then the Sophists, and they didn't really like each other a lot.
Zeno of Citium. You got it right. Zeno was the founder of Stoicism. There was a few other antecedents, but they didn't. They're not as well known. Some people say that Diogenes the Cynic was like the first Stoic. I don't really think so.
And everybody go out and read some Epictetus and, of course, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I got my copy of Meditations here somewhere. Might be in my truck, actually.
Great book.
Stuck in my truck. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. And it
Unreal.
wasn't.
It's written
What
so
makes
long
it
ago.
great is it was never meant to be published. It was just his personal memoir to himself, which is what makes him the philosopher king. He just wanted to figure out his life and the world, and it was just him like. It's easier to think about things if you're writing it down. And I think that's what he was doing.
Yeah, well, he had a really stressful life because, like, when he was emperor, Rome, like the Roman Empire, was really big, and it was starting to get pushed on all sides by all these other like outsider factions. So he was constantly campaigning, going around, and the Meditations is basically, like you said, he just wrote shit to himself to like calm himself down. A lot of it's like remember. Like they'll begin,
stuff
like,
about people he knew.
Telling him like why he shouldn't worry about such and such. Stoicism's great. I think it's a really cool philosophy. It's all about just not attaching yourself to externals. Yeah,
exactly. It's like it's calm. Like people think Stoics are like cold and distant and removed, and it's just like no, they're like precisely removed as much as they feel like is necessary to like remain in adherence with nature and calm and
and then you have a serenity,
not overtaken by, not a slave. Like Stoics will talk about not being a slave of your passions and things like that. It's just
say
like
the thing that
like
comes
ataraxia.
with that is that what comes with that is control. You know what I mean? And that's
it's very Vulcan in a way, except for like
it's
not about
dude. I would
ignoring
say
your
the Vulcans are quintessential Stoics. Honestly, I would say that the
they
writers
take it
are,
far.
Yeah.
But,
By the way, it's ataraxia is a lucid state of robust equanimity characterized by ongoing freedom from distress and worry. So that's the goal of Stoicism. It's basically it's about detaching yourself from externals, like not getting worried when your car has to go to the shop because the car is just a thing. It's not something that you have to grieve over the same way that like something. Yeah. And it's also about like faith,
philosophies,
the destiny.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, fellas,
don't get me started. Don't get me started, boys.
Oh yeah, and I mean, this is just coming from somebody who hasn't read the text, but also just like the idea that almost aligns to a certain degree with like Buddhism, just being like also worrying about the car doesn't change the situation or help the situation. All it does is get your emotions up and running and hinder your ability to deal with the situation, right?
I think Buddhism
Hand
is
off my
also
cock.
similar to Stoicism for sure. But yeah, anyone who's interested, check out some of those authors.
Stoicism and Taoism are like my two philosophies that I think about on a daily basis and try to navigate through the world with, I would say. All right. We got one more segment ahead of us here, fellas. And as soon as I find my little... There we go.
Whoa! Where did that come from? Whoa! I ain't saying nothing.
Well, Baker, you'll be glad to know you get to start this off with a point.
Oh, you're actually just gonna give me a handicap to make it.
I'll tell you why. You earned it. You already. So this is the
Oh,
game
did
where
I mentioned winning trivia.
Everyone doing games with guests.
Oh, the first quote. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take that point.
The first quote. Yeah, you said it.
Yeah, Lionel had
Well,
some.
actually, replace the word kinda with repeatedly in the word dog with son.
All right, you can have
Sorry,
that one.
I kind of blew your spot up there.
Lionel Hutz, you did, but luckily it was the first one, so you don't even
So to
screw up my
recap,
numbering.
We now have to wait for you to finish reading the question before we can answer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's better for the listeners that way. All right. So number 2, early lead by Baker, or super early lead, like 40 minutes early.
Yeah.
Good job, Baker. All right. Second quote. You're right. I should do some reading. You got any Where's Waldo books?
I know it. Barney?
Otto?
2-0 Baker.
Yeah.
Baker, early lead here, Baker.
All
All right.
right.
Number 3. Brady's getting serious now. Look, Brady's just like.
I'm not. No, I don't know. I just still have.
I am doing that with my hands.
Knew it. All right. Number 3. I won't lie to you. In this job, you will be shot at.
Wiggum.
Apu Nahasa Pima.
2-1. Of course.
He's talking to James Woods, isn't he? Or is that something different?
James Woods.
No, I think it's when Homer. I think it's when he. No, I think it's when Homer gets the job.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm me. Are you trying to jerk me around?
Can you say that again? I'm just trying to really get the emotion behind. Yeah. All right. Number 4. Step aside, everyone. Sensitive love letters are my specialty.
Homer.
Yeah.
2-2.
He's closing the gap. Yeah. He's closing the gap. All right.
There's 2 more. All right. Number 5.
Tie game.
Every word you say just makes me want to punch you in the face.
You know what? I'm drawing a blank on this.
Yeah, let me think for a second.
I'm gonna guess Homer. I'll throw it out there. Or
Marge? No, yeah. I don't think. Herb. Oh, yeah.
That's ancient.
Yep. Herb.
Of course. Homer's brother. Great character.
One question left in a tie. Winner.
This is
winner
it.
Takes it. This is it.
For all the turnip juice.
All the pride and turnip juice you could ever drink. All right. I suggest chasing the turnip juice with the pride. But that's just me. Number 6. I don't entertain much. Usually it's just salad for 1, soup for 1, wine for 3.
And the Krabappel.
What a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. He's been here for episodes.
Yeah, he's got the stinger helping him. That's why.
The stinger? They don't let you do that anymore.
No, he's just good with trivia. Kudos, Francis.
No, you know what it is? Is one, I've seen these episodes 100 times, and I'm an audio learner anyway. So like the phrase is just like banking. Like
it's fun. That was a close one. Baker off with that early lead. Whew.
I know.
I was sweating for a minute.
Exciting stuff, fellas.
I'm having fun. Stuff. That's the important thing.
All right, now we get to our ratings, which is Let me just fire that up, fellas. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second. I should have had that already, but I didn't. There it is. Just gotta share the screen here.
It's killing me.
Go.
The anticipation.
Do you guys see it?
Not yet.
No, not
Oh
yet.
wait, I gotta end the stream.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So, all right, Krusty gets busted. Here we go. Story's
We're gonna go story for everyone.
It's the whole murder thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, the highest story I've given so far is Crepes of Wrath. I gave Crepes of Wrath an 8 in story. I'm changing that to a 7. All right. This one's an 8 though. This one's a really good story.
We have 0.5s now, don't we? Who put
feel
it?
Yeah, you can do that if you want. I just try to keep it like having.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. But we do technically.
That's just for me.
0.5s,
Oh yeah, that's just something I do.
I'll give this one probably an 8. I would say it's a very good story. Very clever. Good establishing of the lore. I'm even tempted to go higher, to be honest.
Well.
I'll go with
listen
an
to
8.
your heart.
No. My heart says don't go too hasty.
I'm gonna go 7, but that means I want to knock Crepes of Wrath back to a 6. Now that I look at it, I'm like, I can't believe I gave that a 7.
Yeah.
You guys gotta stand behind your rankings. Come on, boys.
Well, Cousin Dave was so high on it. He was polluting our judgment a little. He was very high on it.
Yeah. It's sentimental for him.
It was. Humor.
Was it sentimental? It seemed more like he was angry. I was like, it's just this episode hold a special place for you, or are you just pissed off?
I'm giving this one an
experience with the French school system.
I'm giving this one an 8 for humor, fellas. This one's pretty great.
Yeah, I would give this one
out loud a bunch of times.
At the risk of just copying you all the time here, Davan, I kind of want to give this one an 8 too.
I'm on point with my ratings, Baker.
Yeah,
I'll go with 6.
We're in sync.
Pretty in line with my.
That's the highest for you, though. It's tied.
There was a lot
ranking.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot. There was a lot of chuckles. Like there was a baseline chuckle throughout the whole episode, but there wasn't a lot of like hearty laughs in it for me.
That's
fair.
For me, you know.
We're gonna get to that point. We're getting to the big chuckles. The season's almost over. Season 2.
Heart, there's like
really good.
Not much. I'm gonna give that heart like a 2. It's not
that's maybe kind of this episode's fatal flaw, isn't it? I'll give it a 5 because I do think that like Bart and I'll say this: I loved Bart admitting that Lisa was smarter, and I loved Lisa then being like, "All right, man, I'm in." Like their camaraderie was cool. I like that. So 5.
Helping his hero.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
Bart
give it
helping
a
his
5, but I'm gonna take my 2 and make it a 4. It's got more heart than Crepes of Wrath. All right. Here we go.
Crepes of Wrath has it. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll go 3. I think there was lots of opportunities for her, but they didn't really capitalize on it. The thing I did like was Bart's unwavering loyalty, and this happens every time something fucked happens to Krusty, and it's not just because hey, I'm naively following him because of his fan. He always ends up being right that Krusty's not the guy at fault, or even though Krusty's a reprehensible human being in most ways, but he's not going to fault him for things that he hasn't actually done, and he never gives up on them.
Well, it's interesting with our rating system. I was in my head, this one was my favorite one so far, but it's actually 3rd according to my ratings.
Well, it's weird because something about synergy, like I was saying earlier, we're like in the individual categories, I find it hard to rank them very high, but overall, as an episode, I really enjoyed it. It's like those things combined, even though on their own weren't great, somehow produced a better episode than the sum of its parts, right?
Yeah, true enough. Well, that gives us a combined 6.3. So tied with Homer's Night Out. See that's
which is
probably
a great episode. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Only behind our still top is still Life on the Fast Lane.
Well, I
love that episode. I love that. And this one was written by Jay Kogan and Wallace Wolodarski, who also wrote Homer's Odyssey. Well, they did better on this one. This one's a lot better than Homer's Odyssey.
Yeah, well, they were still finding their footing with that episode.
Yeah, exactly. And directed
Great
by
episode.
Brad Bird. Original air date, April 29th, 1990. And was the first Ken Brockman. And really the first real Krusty, Itchy and Scratchy, and Sideshow Bob, really. Yeah. Well, fellas, that brings us to the end of our little hurrah here. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. All right, run out of here then.
Bye, everybody.
Contact us, kbbbl@gmail.com. The audio-only version, wherever you get your podcasts. We are a proud member of the United Federation of Podcasts. And in that federation, we've got Hold Up, a movie podcast, one I do with Chris Murphy. Next one's on journalism. We're going to review Network from 1976, The Year of Living Dangerously from 1982, I believe, and Nightcrawler from 2004, something like that. Nightcrawler. Yeah, should be fun. I've watched Network so far. That was interesting. Also check out Super Mater Brothers podcast. They review reality shows like Survivor, Big Brother, stuff like that. We also do Marvel over there. We just did the Quantumania Ant-Man review. Check that out over at the Mater Marvel Society. Speaking of Marvel,
just tell me it was good real quick.
Quantumania, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah,
it's a daddy-daughter movie, so it worked for me.
Okay, cool.
It's all about like daddy-daughter relationship. So
I don't need to hear anymore. I just want to hear if you thought it was good enough.
Yeah, definitely check it out, man, for sure. I recommend it. I gave it like an 8 out of 10. So, X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Check us out over there. We've had a couple weeks off there, not on purpose, but I was fighting the good fight at City Hall the other night, so we had to skip it. And the fight didn't go well at City Hall, but whatever. You can't win them all. Well, I'm not done. They haven't seen the last of me. But check us out over there. Me and my co-host Andre review all the episodes of the X-Men animated series and do sweet interviews from people that made the show. And also Andre has the Graphic Histories podcast where he interviews people from comics, movies, all kinds of things. Check that out. The next one is going to be an interview with Michael Chan. Michael Chan you can see on the Hellbound podcast. And with Alex Blackburn. And they just did an interview with an actor. I can't quite remember the name off the top of my head because it's a long one. Sorry, buddy. Michael something maybe. I don't know. Anyway, check it out. He's an actor in horror movies and stuff. Check it out. And they talk about horror movies over there. I'm really enjoying they're doing these short little like 3-minute horror movie reviews on the weekends lately. And I've been checking all those out. It's 2 movies I'm gonna watch because of those reviews that I wouldn't have watched otherwise. And if you love we also have Trivial Debates. Check that out. The next one's Love Theme, hosted by Eamon Mater, who was on this show recently, my cousin. And I'll be competing against Jody Simpson and Jessica Chan. It's going to be tough, but I am a man of passions. However, dulled by stoicism. So they're in for... Francis, turn your volume on if you're gonna laugh. It's good for people to hear that you're laughing.
Just love you. I'm a man of passions.
I'm passionate about Star Trek. We have tons of Star Trek content over at Live Long and Podcast. Seriously, everything I could think of, I turn into a show. Check it out. It's in the Command Division. They review all the shows, which we're about to do right now. Actually, it's starting right now. The Picard review. So I'm gonna fire through the rest of these. Look at all these different divisions. Locutors of Trek, Ops Division. We're done here because I got to get over to that Picard review.
Cool.
Any final words, Francis?
Live long and podcast, brother.
Yeah, live long and podcast. I agree. Let's do that. But about The Simpsons as well as Star Trek. All right, man. Catch you next time.
Later.
KBBBL podcast. Where the extra B is for BYOBB.
Where's my